Celebration of Global Entrepreneurship Week has been fantastic. We started the week off with a keynote kickoff address regarding everything that is happening here at Coppin State University in the College of Business at the Center for Strategic Entrepreneurship. And then yesterday we heard from two of our presenters and one of our sponsors and partners, PNC Bank, also Baltimore Community Lending Group, participated yesterday. But today we started with our poster session where faculty, students, and staff presented social innovations that they've been working on or planning to work on. We want to congratulate the winner of that competition for their participation and their steadfastness in putting together their project. We also want to thank Carver High School, our special guest. We have 25 high school students who participated with us today on campus. But now we transition into a segment of the week that I have really been looking forward to, and that is the panel discussion with 5 African founders. The title of this segment is Community Focus, Global Impact, African Founders Lead the Way. What we hope to illustrate is that there is entrepreneurial activity happening everywhere. Last year, when we did a segment on the history of Black entrepreneurship, we realized that entrepreneurship is something just like the human species that arose from the continent of Africa as that mineral-rich continent developed trade lanes into other parts of the world, and entrepreneurship had its birth through those trade routes that came up out of the richest continent on the face of the planet. So we are happy that we have African founders here today who are going to share their experiences, their entrepreneurial journey, so that we can connect the dots between communities that are part of the global community, but are on other sides of the world, but have a common interest. So now we're going to have a word from our sponsor, that is Dr. Bruce Dunhams, Coppin alum, CEO of Innovation Factory. And he's going to introduce this segment to us. So I will pass it to our sponsor and our partner, Dr. Bruce Dunhams of the Innovation Factory. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Bruce Dunhams, founder and CEO of the Innovations Factory. When we first sat down and started talking to the College of Business about Global Entrepreneurship Week, we knew we wanted to help Coppin deliver a true student experience. So we came up with this concept to bring together a panel of 5 international entrepreneurs who could share their stories of success and failures with our students. We wanted to give students who view entrepreneurship as a path to success a model to look at and to be inspired by. So we dipped into our network of SMEs and identified 5 entrepreneurs that we believe you can relate to. Because, well, they look like us, they share similar experiences as us, and we know that they appreciate us. And these 5 entrepreneurs are running organizations that are truly impacting their community. Now, I'm not going to tell you their stories, but what I will tell you is that each of these young superstars inspires us at the Innovations Factory to continue to support aspiring entrepreneurs all over the world. So to Ifra, to Chowe, Tiofi, Doyen, and Jaria, thank you for your participation. And thank you for serving as beacons to other entrepreneurs. I'm really looking forward to this discussion.
Hello, I am Jame Wyatt, a freshman honors student at Coppin State University, and it is so nice to be here moderating the African Founders Lead the Way panel. Today, I am joined by Ola Doyen, Cholwe, Ifra, Jadia, and Theofi. In this panel, we will discuss what it means to be a successful entrepreneur. Let us start by introducing our esteemed panel. Theophy, if you could start us off with your name, business, and Twitter style introduction.
Hi, my name is Maemuchi Opirambani. I am the founder and CEO of Spotless in South Africa. We formulate, manufacture, and distribute household cleaning products. And we targeting the low LSM market. That's who we mostly distribute our products to, because we believe that people with very little money sometimes are not targeted by big brands which produce high quality products.
Thank you. Cholwe.
Hello, everyone. My name is Cholwe Ellen Shabukali, and I'm the co-founder and managing director of Team Gematrix. Team Gematrix is an esports organization and talent agency based in Zambia, Southern Africa. We help gamers transform their passion into viable careers. And also, I'd also like to note that we've been in operation for about 3 years. And within the 3 years, we have won over 6 Sub-Saharan Africa championships. And we've also managed to sign players within the continent in Zambia and the US. And we're excited to be here.
Congratulations. Thank you for sharing. Oladoyin.
Hi, everyone. My name is Oladoyin, and I am the founder of Window. Window is a customized search engine for apparel shopping, and our goal is to make the process of buying clothes online faster, easier, and more enjoyable through automation and personalization. Thank you.
Thank you. Ifra.
Thank you, Jame. Hi, everyone. My name is Ifra Arab. I am the founder and CEO of Supermom. I come from Kenya, and Supermom is a social enterprise that empowers women from marginalized communities here in Kenya to create a sales force that distributes fast-moving consumer goods within their communities. Supermom aims to close the last mile distribution gap, which is basically consumers having to travel really long distances to access basic everyday products, while at the same time empowering women from these communities who are usually affected mostly by gender to get a way of earning a to get a way of earning a living. So what Supermom does is it trains these women on basic financial skills, how to sell and buy, how to set profit margins, product use in case of new products. And then at the same time, we partner with manufacturing companies that produce everyday use products such as sugar, salt, basic flour, and then match these women with these products from these manufacturing companies. These women are now able to distribute it within their communities and get a way of earning a living.
Thank you. Jaria.
Hi, everyone. Thank you. My name is Jaria Tijalo. I'm from the Gambia. I'm the founder and CEO of Unima Errands Trainer. What we do at Unima is we run errands and delivery services. Unima is a Wolof name in our local language. It means send me. So basically, it's just you staying at home or in your office and you need something done, and we get it done for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we will answer 3 questions. The first being the relationship between local and global business, what we can learn from your outcomes to apply to communities in the US for those who aren't virtual already, and we will learn from your outcomes. I'd like to start off with Theophy. Could you tell us about the relationship between local and global business?
The relationship between global and local businesses, I'll explain within the same industry, is that as much as we're not direct competitors, in some way we are competing for the same market. I'll give an example within my industry. So I'm manufacturing household cleaning products, say dishwashing liquid, in a local village in the most northern part of Limpopo in South Africa. And most of the people within my community before I launched my product have been using one of the well-known dishwashing liquid brands. They don't know about me, but I know about them. They're a global product. They're supplying everyone everywhere. So before me, the people within my community were using that product religiously. They didn't have any other option, or that's what they knew about. As soon as I launched my product, I started marketing directly to them. And now they've stopped using, some of them have stopped using that product and they're using my product religiously, and they've built a relationship with it. So as much as I'm a local product that they don't know about, and are not even aware of. In some way, we're competing for the same market. So within my community, I'm a direct competitor to them. So now if I branch out of my local community and maybe start producing the entire province, the whole Limpopo province, I will now be competing with them for the Limpopo market. So as much as the local business looks like a small player, if you look at it at a bigger scale, we are actual direct competitors to the global brands within the same industry.
Thank you. Ifra?
I'm going to talk about it also in the context of Supermom. So within Supermom, we have, we're working with the most rural of consumers. So we're targeting people that are quite cut off. And this, again, we're a local player. But then the companies that we work with are usually manufacturing companies that are a bit global. So we work with Unilever, for example, because we're trying to sell, fast moving consumer goods, and Unilever is one of the biggest manufacturer of this everyday products. So we partner with this global companies to create a solution for them in markets that they would easily not, reach, like, the communities that we work with. So this big brands are unable to actually reach that last consumer in, say, Garissa County, where we're working in. So what we do is we create this distribution channel that ensures the consumers that they're trying to target get their products in the same quality. So by creating this, we create a solution for them while empowering the people from these communities.
Thank you. Daria, I'll go to you.
Thank you. So just in the perspective of UNIMA, so when we started first, so our target was basically the Gambians in the diaspora, to do business with the Gambians in diaspora who want to give back in the Gambia, but they would just want to run errands or delivery services, but they don't have anyone who will be able to do that for them. So that was the first business model. But later on, we did expand and include the local market, that even if you're in your office and you need to just run an errands and you cannot go out, we will run the errands for you. You just need something to be pick up, your food for your pickup from your restaurants, and we do that for you, sorry. So yeah, so basically it was more of like, international and then coming to local, but the global market is still there because we still work with diaspora, Gambian diasporans in America, in UK and all over. They want to give back to or want to run errands in the Gambia. We also work with e-commerce services in Nigeria and in UK. So what we do, we offer them warehousing and delivery services for the product they sell online on Facebook or on Instagram. So yeah, that's the connection.
Thank you. I believe our second question was already answered with Ms. Fiofi sharing how, although it's a local business, you already work with global players, and Ms. Jaria as well, Ms. Ifra. So if you guys could explain a little more about how you can apply things that are working well and how that could transition into other places around the world, particularly the US. I'll go to Oladoyin.
Sure. So for us, since we're building an internet-based business, it's relatively easy, I should say, to connect people all over the world, wherever there is an internet connection. So we really focus on leveraging the multinational reach of the brands that we already work with, and connecting the users with smaller D2C players, direct-to-consumer players, because there is a really strong desire and push for supporting small businesses, Black-owned businesses, women-owned businesses, and sometimes those businesses don't have the same omni-channel reach, omni-channel strategy as some of the larger multinational players. But creating a platform that makes shopping easy and effortless for everyone allows us to put many different kinds of businesses of different sizes on the same platform and extend that reach to the smaller businesses that need that support for the customers that are trying to get to them. So in many ways, the internet and technology is a great equalizer in that regard.
Thank you. Ms. Cholwe, could you elaborate more on connection between virtual businesses and interacting with different communities?
So I think in general, what I think our community, the community in the US could learn from our outcomes as well is to constantly have the hunger to learn more and succeed more. Because I could say from our perspective, we started out as the only organization in our country. And I started out as the only Black female founder in the continent that I knew of was doing an esports organization. So because of that disadvantage, I really had to have the hunger to learn, the hunger to really network myself within the community, not just locally, but internationally as well. Also, I had to also learn on my toes to really understand more about the community and their needs, and really find solutions that could help fit that need. So one of the solutions that we came up with, of course, is the tournament platform that gives players access to a platform to learn more from their skills and be better and play against the best in the world. So for us, that's a solution that really is propelling us to also think globally now. So right now we're starting with just catering to our country, but we'll be opening our tournaments to Sub-Saharan Africa and eventually across the continent, across other continents as well. So with the rise of e-commerce, I think it's really important. With the rise of e-commerce and the internet, I believe it's really important for us to be on our toes and learn more, as trends are really changing fast. So we need to also be relevant with what's happening around us. So it really needs us to be more aware of everything happening around us, happening around our businesses, and happening around in our industry, so that we can be on par with the changes. So I think those are things we can also learn.
Thank you. I like the idea you brought up of pivoting and evolving with the environment. Ifra, could you share something that you've learned with us?
Something that I've learned, which is, a bit quite similar to what Cholwe has said, is learning. So one thing that we've done very well at Supermom, and we keep doing because you can never do enough of it, is completely understand your market and understand like the solution that you're providing. So similar to Toifi, the consumers that we work with are like in the most rural parts of Kenya. Because of this, their habits are quite different from, what people in the city, how they purchase things and how their consumer spending is. And for us, coming in and for me as, because I come from the community that I serve, was to completely understand that, the way that, they purchase things and the way that basically they take things is not similar to how, other markets are. And not to completely take solutions from other markets and replicate them. While replicating them is really important sometimes you just have to really look at the problem and the place that you're working in and actually create a solution that fits the market that you're trying to serve. And this has taught us so much. So we have a lot of people that come in, including for us at Supermom, we have the manufacturers that we work with, and then on the other hand we have the women that we're working with who are the salespeople, and then the consumers that buy the product, like that last consumer. So for us, we have to balance the entire all the players within the system. So when the manufacturer suggests something that probably works in, another market and probably doesn't work in the market that we're playing in, we have to actually inform them that this is not how it works in the market that we're targeting, but then also come up with solutions that fit the market that we're working in. So understanding the consumers is really, really important. And, sometimes taking lessons from other markets here and there is really good, but then sometimes not really replicating it and understanding that market that you're working in. For example, for the consumer habits in the areas that we work in, I usually purchase goods only when you need them. So it's quite different. So for some of us, we go to a grocery store every month and do, shopping in bulk for all the goods that we need. But for the people that we work with, they purchase goods, they purchase things whenever they need them. So if it's breakfast, then they'll purchase what they need make breakfast. And then they come back at lunchtime and purchase what they need to make lunch. So you have to understand your consumer and create a solution that fits their needs instead of, looking at solutions that other people have come up with before. So that's a huge lesson that I've learned along the way. Another lesson that I've learned is, having, and this is coming from, being a young person and trying to run a business without, capital and, that lack of support, because that's not something you just get out of the blues, is traction, creating traction. So sometimes, and this is something that's faced, all over, like everybody talks about lack of finance and how that's the biggest problem that young entrepreneurs face all over the world. So for us, I remember, sitting down and saying, hey, we don't have the money to purchase goods. I don't have the money to do this, so I can't really start it. But then in the end, and being turned down again also by big brands, because at the beginning I thought, if I'm going to approach brands, they're actually going to listen and give us their products. But then learning that, if I'm able to actually find ways to convince them to sell their products to me, or like give me their products, so like find a way to like be unique, or like, differentiate myself from the other people, that would be the only way that I'd get their goods. So what I did was start by like piloting with products from a company that was run by another young person. Then after proving that the model works, then I started purchasing goods that from the money that I'd saved, and me and my other team members, and start purchasing products that are from the brands that I was targeting. So if it's Unilever, then I buy a few of their products, sell, and then reinvest the profits, and with that create a traction that I could then use to now approach them and say, hey, this is how your products are doing, help me with this. So it's more like help yourself before you get the bigger help that you need. Yeah, so those are some of the most important lessons I've learned.
Thank you. You touched on starting and failure and learning more about your business and how it works, and just communicating with the people who you're working with. And I appreciate it. Theophie, I saw you nodding. Would you like to answer things that you have learned along your entrepreneurial journey?
Yeah, I just echo a lot with what Ifra was saying. I think it's because we operating in sort of like the same type of environment, and most of the things that she's had to sort of follow, or the systems that she has had to put in place, are systems that I'm putting in place, because she's been running a business for longer than I've been running mine. So the things that she's saying now, I'm just like, okay, I'm going through this right now, and I'm learning these lessons. But I think the biggest lesson that I've learned, or the outcome that I've had from my business that I think should be applied everywhere in the world is the art of starting from nothing. When I started my business in 2018, we used to mix from a big drum. We started from a bucket, and then when we had more customers, we started mixing from a 50-liter drum using a stick, and basically our entire production line was manual, and it was quite tiring. So I think when we now have before COVID, we had a full production line. We lost that due to COVID, and now we just have a mixer, and most of our processes are still manual, but now we have a business that a lot of people know, and we've secured a place in the market, and it's better than where we were when we started. So I just want to emphasize on the art of starting from absolutely nothing. You don't have to wait to get R1 million of a grant from the state, or from family, or from anyone's savings. I think it's very important just to know that we can start with what we have, where we at, and so right from there. It's very important to start with what we have and work hard. The art of starting from nowhere with nothing, falling and getting up again. That's what I just wanted to say. Yeah.
Thank you, Theophie. I'd like to go to Oladoyin about things that you have learned on your entrepreneurial journey. And you said you started your business in the US, correct?
Yeah, this window is based in the US, but my entrepreneurial journey actually started in Africa. So I built, my first venture was a social enterprise in West Africa, Ghana, and Nigeria specifically. And if I have to talk about lessons throughout my entire entrepreneurial journey, it'll definitely start there. I think that I think about the contrast between both of my businesses, having worked and lived on both continents. And I think that a lot of times, both times, you have to make do with what you have. In particular environments, there are more resources than others. I would definitely say there are more resources now that I'm building a venture in the States. But I think that my experience as an entrepreneur on the continent taught me so much, because I learned how to make do with very little. And in many ways, I'm still applying those same principles here, and squeezing and raising very small money to try to do a lot with it. And I even have to learn from my advisors, you can fundraise a little bit more. There's a lot more, capital in this particular part of the world. But I learned how to be so resourceful with very little that I try to not raise as much so as to not dilute myself. And there's a whole other conversation about investor dilution versus the founder. But I think for me, the grit that I learned when I was building a very small business, when I was building a social enterprise, and now that I'm trying to build a high growth venture-backed startup, it's the same grit. And I'm very grateful for those previous experiences, because I think it's enabling me now. But I would say that I have to remind myself also to always dream bigger and bigger and bigger. Sometimes it's helpful for me to take things in small micro chunks and just do the next step and the next step and the next step. But as an entrepreneur, you are the person who sets the vision. You are the visionary, you're the strategic leader. And so keeping that very large vision in mind while I'm just trying to get through the next step and the next step is something that I remind myself every day. So I would say those two things. Yeah.
Thank you. And that's similar to what Ms. Ifra was saying before about starting step by step and keeping on. I'd like to give everyone 30 seconds to share some closing words. Ms. Cholwe, if you could start us off.
Yes. So much like Ola mentioned, I think one of the things that we need to really take away from this conversation with all of us is the fact that it's possible to start a business from nothing. And also, it's very important for you to believe that what you're doing is great, and eventually everyone else will step into line and also join your vision. It's also important to surround yourself with people who believe in what you're doing. You have to have a team. A team is very important. Even if you need investors or you don't need investors, a team is really important, because you need to lean on other people for your work to thrive. The other thing that I would like to add is you also need to fight for your opportunities. In Africa, things are really rough in a way, but because of our grit and our focus and our belief in our visions, we always persevere despite all odds. So I believe we should all have that fight within us to make our own opportunities and break our own doors open. And also the last thing I'd like to say, it's important to learn from your customers, learn from the people around you, and learn more from the big industry players. So really be ready to adapt and pivot and learn as much as you can. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Ifra.
So in 30 seconds, okay. So the biggest lesson that, I'd like to leave everybody with today is, again, I'm gonna sound cliche, but then again, keep learning, take everything as a learning opportunity, pride yourself in knowing your business the best. That's something I've learned the hard way, and I've had to tell even investors, this is what works for me, and this is what works for the area that we're working with, and this is what works. So pride yourself in learning, in knowing your business best, and take everything as a learning opportunity, be it, in building your social capital, as Cholwe has said, as you network, learn, but then take everything as a learning opportunity, keep learning, and, never give up. Just don't give up. Yeah.
Thank you. Sharia.
Thank you. So, when I first started, because of the services I'm offering, I was thinking everybody is my market. So that's the first thing I did, and it was wrong. So most of the time when you're offering services, you think, oh my, everybody needs it. I'm running errands and delivery services. So at one time you need it, but then I learned that, everybody cannot be my market. So I just have to find my market and then focus on that. So I'm gonna leave with you is, if you have a business, like Ifra said, you just have to understand it and understand your market. Not everybody is going to be your market. Not everybody is going to need your services. So just find that person or find that group and just keep on that. Thank you.
Then I just want to agree with what Ifra and Jaria said about the importance of knowing your customer. And I actually want to add on to that and say that it's very important to know your customer and also to love them and be passionate about them. And that's the only way that you'll be able to offer them the best service, and the best service will actually get your business to grow and. It's just important to love them. If you don't love them, then you have to teach yourself to love them, because the only way that you can give them perfect service is if you care about them and their needs, and yeah, that's what I want to add on.
Thank you. He talked a lot about understanding your market and persevering and pushing through no matter what. And I thank you guys for sharing. Oladoyin, would you like to share your closing thoughts?
Yeah, I echo what everyone else has said. I think what I like to keep as a North Star for myself is the passion that fuels me. There are many times where it's very much a roller coaster. And there are many times where you feel like maybe it's just me. Maybe I made this whole problem up in my head. I made this solution up in my head. Nobody really needs this. You go through fundraising, you get dozens, up to I think 100 investors have told me no at this point, but you just kind of have to remind yourself of what brought you here in the first place. This particular problem that I'm solving comes from 10 years as a frustrated customer and finally deciding I'm going to solve this problem because no one else wants to solve it. And I try to keep that as my anchor, because there are going to be many, many challenges, from investors saying no to people not understanding the product to your sales falling short of your goals. There are going to be many reasons why you should stop. But unless you have an anchor, whatever that may be for you, for me, it's my passion, but unless you have an anchor that's going to keep you going, then you will stop, and you will always have many reasons to stop. So I would find that anchor.
Thank you. Before we wrap this up, I'd like to thank Dr. Ron Williams for choosing to moderate this panel. I am Jame Wyatt, an honors freshman student at Coppin State University. It has been eye-opening to learn more about market, global expansion, and how to push through from our amazing panel here today. And I am so glad that we got the chance to meet and grow from one another. That being said, I would like to thank these young ladies for teaming up with the College of Business for sponsoring the African founders from the panel and bringing us all together. I hope that our viewers leave with a sense of empowerment and feel ready to take on their own business endeavors. And I'd like to give a shout out to Dean Sadie R. Gregory for strategic entrepreneurship. And thank you all. Please have a nice day.
All I can say is, wow. We want to thank our panelists, our founders for their contribution to our celebration of Global Entrepreneurship Week. I want to also thank our sponsor, Dr. Bruce Dunhams, once again, CEO of Innovation Factory, for organizing and his contribution to this segment. I also want to thank our College of Business student, Ms. Jame Wyatt, for her participation in this segment. As you can see, our founders have illustrated the power of entrepreneurship, but also the power of community. So again, we invite you to join us at the Center for Strategic Entrepreneurship at Coppin State University as we seek to advance our community focus, but also our global impact. You can email us at entrepreneurship@coppin.edu, reach out to us and we'll reach back to you. And we look forward to strengthening the trajectory of our community when it comes to economic development. Thank you, and we will talk to you soon.